Roller Derby fans, welcome back to the Hall of Dames. This is coming up on bout 11 of Chingadera. This is your Southside Roller Derby Elite versus the Arizona Derby Dames Hot Shots.
We've got about 3.5 minutes until the bout is scheduled to start at 4:45, so we're going to go ahead and go through the rosters right at this time. Skating for the Southside Roller Derby Elite team, number 127, Violent Viking. Number 214, November Pain. Number 31, Lola Chola. Number 311, Evil Eye Candy. Number 413, Mermace. Number 419, Pandemonium. Number 5150, Stingray. Number 629, Crash and Burn. Number 69, Star. Number 82, Daisy Nukes. And number 721, your captain, Mojo.
All right, the Navy team, the blue team, skating for your Arizona Derby Dames Hot Shots. Number 1, Ellie Mayhem. Number 1235, Bob Villain. 172, Pikachu. Number 23, Quiver Phoenix. Number 34, Pretty Hurt Machine. Sith is Anakin Shit Talker. 55, Skid Vicious. 623 is Hollywood. 669 is Nikki Badass. 724 is Dolly Spartan. 772, Alan I'll Hate Ya. Number 95, Lightning the Queen. Your co-captain today, 2187, Princess Leia. And your captain for tonight's bout, 666, Witchy Woman. Are all the microphones turned on? Wink, wink.
We are preparing to get underway here. We are under a minute to go for this, the 11th bout of Chingadera. Arizona Derby Dames Hot Shots looking to go 4-0 in the tournament.
Great job by all these skaters, skating all these bouts this weekend. 4 bouts in 2 days. It's a long day for a lot of people. What's that? That's right. Yep. Me too. I was here at the crack of dawn.
Yeah, spacebar start stop. We're still waiting for one rep. Oh, I already had a rocky start. But we fixed it.
All right, we are just about ready to go. Just a couple more personnel getting into place, and then we will get underway here.
Oh, I saw that. The hoodie with the jammer star on it.
Uh-huh.
Amelia and I saw that somewhere, and we were like, oh my God, we got to get some of those.
That's cool.
Oh, that's Skeletina.
Well, that makes sense. Beverly Kills, please see us at the announcer's nest. Beverly Kills to the announcer's nest, please. We are ready to go with the first jam here of the 5th bout of the day. 11th bout of Chingadera, jamming for Arizona. That's number 724, Dolly Spartan.
That's Pandemonium for Southside Roller Derby.
And there's Dolly Spartan out the front of the pack. She is your lead jammer here in the first jam for Arizona.
Pandemonium tied up behind Nikki Badass, trying to follow her through the pack. She gets to the front of the pack. Right about time Dolly Spartan's reaching the back of the pack. And she's cleared through. Pandemonium still working her way around Pikachu and Nikki Badass.
Dolly Spartan now making her way around the track, and she is back mid-pack, weaving her way through the Southside defense and the pink jerseys in front of her, and she's through with 10 seconds to go on the jam clock. Pandemonium still pinned in behind that wall of Arizona defenders, and that's going to do it for the jam.
That's Lola Chola out there on the jammer line for the south side.
And Arizona sends up Anakin Shit-Talker for her first jam of the bout.
Lola Chola battling her way to the front of the pack.
And Anakin
Up against Ellie Mayhem, has to let her by.
So both jammers out now and racing back to the pack. Lola Chola puts her head down, trying to gain on Anakin Shit-Talker as they approach the pack in the back straightaway, and Anakin Shit-Talker calls it off. And we are going to have an official timeout to talk it over. The referee crew going to make sure we got everything squared away. And it looks like we got it all good to go. Okay, we are all set to go. And a little delay on the points getting up to the scoreboard, just making sure everything is set to go. We've been working hard all weekend to bring you fantastic derby action, and we will not stop because we don't know how to stop.
That's Mermaids out there for Southside.
And jamming for Arizona is going to be Pikachu.
Pikachu taken to the infield by one of the Southside blockers. Mermaids battling up again in the front.
And Pikachu able to find a crease along the inside and to the front of the pack. She is your lead jammer for Arizona. And
Mermaids trying to find her way around the Lightning the Queen and Quiver Phoenix as Pikachu gets to the back of the pack. Mermaid's trying to work her way through the back of the pack here. Pikachu calls off the jam. It's okay. Violent Viking working her way through the pack. Princess Leia is your lead jammer out there. She's about halfway around the track right now. About to set up her scoring pass. Violent Viking battling her way at the front of the pack.
Princess Leia able to fight her way through some traffic on a scoring pass. Jam clock halfway gone here. Violent Viking now to the front. Dealing with that front wall of Arizona defenders now and able to get around them as they turn their focus to helping their jammers. So Violent Viking now out and coming around. Princess Leia gets through those last few defenders and calls off the jam. 9 points on the board for Princess Leia during that jam. And at the jammer line is number 669, Nikki Badass. But not anymore. She has been called down. It is going to be a power jam for Southside. Coming up on the track to jam for Southside is number 31, Lola Chola. Here in this first power jam for Southside of this bout. So a great chance for Southside to put some points on the board here as Lola Chola up to the front of the pack. Hits that Arizona 3-wall. And now the struggle begins.
Bob Villan held back as a goat at the back of the pack for a few minutes, but she's able to work her way up to the front. Got a solid 4-wall in the front of the pack here. Derby Dames, but gets a little bit broken up as Southside's trying to get their jammer out. Lola Chola pushing hard, trying to get those Arizona blockers out of the way. And she does. She gets out in turn 2. Still about 16 seconds left in this jam. Lola Chola is coming around in power jam.
Southside slows the pack down here. They've got the pack separated as mentioned. Lola Chola now up into that 3-wall one more time, and that's going to do it for the jam. 2 points on the board for Southside there in the power jam. Good defense played by Arizona. That's going to be Anakin Shittalker at the jammer line for Arizona. And for Southside, that is Mermace. Pandemonium, excuse me. Both jammers now mid-pack as the pack proceeds. Anakin Shittalker up to the outside. Uses the leverage along that safety rail to keep herself moving, and she's your lead jammer for Arizona.
Ellie Mayhem doing a great job of letting her jammer out and then shutting the door on that Southside jammer.
Anakin down to the inside along the corner, and she's through on a scoring pass. Southside jammer now up to the front of the pack and runs into that perpetually present 3-wall of Arizona. Hollywood trying to stay with her, but out of play, so has to let her go. Anakin, meanwhile, mid-pack. A blocker knocked out of the way very sharply by one of the Arizona blockers. And that's going to do it for the jam.
Ellie Mayhem knocking Stingray into the infield, trying to get her jammer out again. Anakin Shittalker takes full advantage of that jam.
Now at the jammer line for Southside, that's I'm kidding. That's Mermace this time, actually. And jamming for AZ is going to be Nikki Badass.
Mermaid's tied up behind Dolly Spartan as Nikki Badass battles her way to the front of the pack and gets out as your lead jammer. Mermaid's still tied up behind Dolly Spartan and a couple of Lightning the Queen. A couple of other Arizona blockers. Nikki Badass completes her first scoring pass, coming around for second pass.
Meanwhile, mid-pack, there are the Southside defenders. And as if on cue, Arizona blockers swoop into view and knock them aside, and Nikki Badass able to get through. 12 seconds to go on the jam clock.
Pikachu, Lightning, and Dolly Spartan doing a good job holding that jammer.
And Nikki through the pack one last time, completes the scoring pass, and the jam is over. $15 points on the board during that jam for Nikki Badass in the Arizona Hotshots.
Here comes Violent Viking for Southside. That's Witchy Woman there for the Hotshots.
Your team captain for the evening, Witchy Woman. Spun down to the infield. Now back up as Witchy trying to find her way through that Southside jammer to the front now. And it's going to be a jammer race as they make it down to the corner coming around the turn. Violent Viking is still in front with Witchy Woman right on her tail. The pack now moving ahead. Violent Viking still trying to outskate her back to the pack and put some points on the board for Southside. Violent Viking up mid-pack. And the two Arizona defenders, we will wait for confirmation. And after the jammer race, 2 points for Arizona, none for Southside. I saw a triumphant fist go up from one of the Arizona defenders, and I think she knew that as well. So excellent defense turning into offense for the Hotshots there. But we do have a power jam, it looks like.
Unfortunately, yeah, it looks like number 666, Witchy Woman, picked up an arms penalty on that. It's going to be a power jam for Southside. Here comes Lola Chola.
Lola Chola out there to do the jamming for Southside. Has had a lot of success as a jammer in this tournament, has Lola in their 3 games prior to this. One of their primary jammers. Now fighting to get free in the back straightaway. Arizona defense united up in front. It's kind of their calling card. And those Arizona defenders are absolutely united there along the front. It looks like we got Pikachu in there with
That's a hell of a wall to try to have to get through there. Pikachu, Bob Villain, Skid Vicious, Quiver Phoenix all in there. Quiver Phoenix gets knocked to the infield, and somebody else just takes her place in that wall.
That'll do it for the power jam.
Hotshots have been putting up tremendous walls all weekend. Picked up 2 penalties on Southside blockers. It's going to be 4-2 in the box.
And a penalty on the Southside jammer as well.
That's
so
right.
The jammer takes a seat. We are going to have a power jam for Arizona.
We're not done yet calling penalties. My goodness.
Pretty Hurt Machine is out there to do the jamming for the first time during this bout for Arizona.
Hurt sees some daylight along the rail, and she takes advantage of it.
Just 2 defenders out there for Southside. I see Star. And Pretty Hurt Machine making her way through the pack. 40 seconds to go in the power jam.
Arizona doing a great job keeping those 2 blockers for Southside separated. There's really no such thing as a one wall in roller derby.
There's 12 seconds to go in the Arizona power jam. Pretty Hurt Machine makes another pass. And the crowd implores her for one more. Coming on around. Looks like the clock is going to expire before she gets back to the pack.
For Southside, here comes Pandemonium.
And jamming for Arizona for the second time is going to be Dolly Spartan.
Southside getting their blockers lined up. There are 3 blockers on this jam.
One fan in the audience wants Dolly to know that she loves her. Fighting her way along the inside now, getting around the San Diego pivot before they can close the door. Dolly Spartan is out and clear as your lead jammer for the Hotshots.
Pandemonium trying to get by Bob Villain and Lightning the Queen. Skid Vicious added to that line to help. Southside trying to break them up, get their jammer out.
As the Arizona defensive wall comes sliding past us here in the announcer's booth again, just getting a look at who's providing the defense this time around, as Dolly Spartan has completed another scoring pass, coming around for some more. About 6 seconds to go here in the jam. And that will do it for that jam. We'll wait for the score there. Dolly Spartan, a lot of success. We've got Mermace lining up to jam for Southside.
Witchy Woman.
And jamming for Arizona is number 666, Witchy Woman. The Texas fans are giving a Texas cheer as Witchy Woman clears the pack for Arizona.
I see some Tilted Thunder fans singing those Texas anthems too over there.
Witchy Woman now mid-pack and able to dance her way by on the inside coping and clear. I'm trying to figure out if the Texas cheer is for Arizona or for Southside, or if it's just for the joy of Texas. I haven't decided. Oh, that's right. Southside's from Texas. I just figured it. I'm so smart. I am so smart. My goodness. Witchy Woman up to the pack now with 15 seconds to go in the jam. Now finding her way through the pack with some help from her blockers, and she is clear. The Southside jammer out of the pack now, Mermace.
Mermaid's working her way through the top of the pack, and she got out on that jam at the end there. That's okay.
I thought it was like, oh, that's the Texas fans.
Actually, but it's these Seattle girls. It's Amelia Bearhart.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Southside's also from Texas.
That's Quiver Phoenix out there for the hot shots. Violent Viking taking the jammer line for Southside.
And Quiver Phoenix out of the pack. And your lead jammer for Arizona. And Quiver Phoenix able to come up to the pack, waited patiently for her blockers, who pulled open the curtain, and Quiver Phoenix right through on a scoring pass. Quarter clock has expired, so this will be the last jam of the first quarter. And Quiver Phoenix sprung free and able to get on through. Finish another scoring pass. Violent Viking back up on track behind the Arizona three-wall and is going to try to at least slow down Quiver Phoenix's progress here as the jam clock expires. Feels kind of strange to be sitting here during a quarter break at the Hall of Dames and there's not young skaters running around throwing T-shirts at people.
Or raffle tickets.
If you'd like to have T-shirts thrown at you at the next bout, mark your calendar for Saturday, March 9th. Our next bout, Season 14, continues. That's our last regular season bout of the season before we get into the playoffs in April. And that is going to feature a headline bout of Runaway Brides versus the Schoolyard Scrappers. If you look up at our standings board here, you can see they're number 1 and 3, so that'll be their last tune-up before the playoffs. And our second bout of the night is going to be the Doomsday Valkyries versus the Coffin Draggers. So teams still playing for playoff seeding and to see who's going to make the playoffs. Top 4 teams into the playoffs, which are the 3rd weekend of April.
That's right, Easter Eve. That's going to be a heck of a night.
It's going to be...
It's going to decide the whole playoff seeding.
Absolutely. So still a lot of movement available in the playoff seeding. So we're looking forward to that one. Once again, Saturday, March 9th. Our next regular season bout, the final regular season bout of Season 14, right here at the Hall of Dames, 6 p.m.
And then these teams, we get to see all of this once again coming up at the Battle on the Bank. Southside Roller Derby is going to be hosting. So we're all going to Houston, right, folks?
God willing and the creek don't rise.
That's right.
We'll see.
I'm going too.
I'll tell you what, if old Greg can stay out of the hospital for more than 8 weeks, I'll be there.
Looks like the Southside Jammer picked up a stopping penalty on that last jam. So it's going to be an Arizona Power Jam. Anakin Shittalker out there to do the honors.
Anakin Shittalker in her first weekend of bouts as a member of the Hot Shots team, a recent addition to the team. And she is clear of the pack and is coming around for her first scoring pass.
She's showing everybody why she's definitely deserves to be on this team.
Comes flying through the turn there on a scoring pass. Halfway gone on the jam clock. And it can now, following her blockers.
And just as I say that, she gets knocked to the infield.
And able to dodge Star coming out of the turn. And Anakin through again. Coming around, try to get one more scoring pass in during this Arizona Power Jam. And Anakin up to the outside, takes a couple of hips, but doesn't knock her off balance right through the pack. And that's another completed scoring pass during the Arizona Power Jam. And we got in 3 of those. It's 15 points for Anakin Shittalker.
That's Bob Villan out there for the first time this weekend, jamming for the Hot Shots. I hear a lot of Bob Villan fans in the audience. Pandemonium taking the jammer line for Southside.
Bob Villan trying to fight her way to the front of the pack, and there she goes. Bob Villan says, "Hi, I'm Bob, and I'm your lead jammer."
Pandemonium tied up behind Pikachu and Lightning McQueen. A couple of our junior skaters that have graduated into the adult ranks.
And your Southside jammer is out of the pack. There goes Pandemonium. Bob Villan through the pack. And keeping an eye on the progress. Call goes up from the bench to call the jam.
All of these skaters in that jam, you'll get to see them skating 2 weeks from now. Scrappers and Brides, all of them.
Setting up the jam here is Lola Chola for Southside, and coming to the line for Arizona is Ellie Mayhem.
Ellie Mayhem tries the low, couldn't see any ring, tries up the high. Getting hung up on the rail a little bit, but she's getting out. Ellie Mayhem is your lead jammer coming out of turn 4. Lola Chola putting on the gas, pushing those Arizona blockers out of the way. And then she gets herself out in turn 1 as Ellie Mayhem cuts her way through the pack.
Lola Chola with those light up skate wheels manages to get on through the pack, and that causes Arizona's jammer to call the jam. So 4 points on the board for Arizona Hot Shots. Stepping up to the jammer line is going to be Dolly Spartan for Arizona. And for Southside, that is Mermace.
Both jammers sneaking up on the pack. Dolly Spartan able to push her way to the front and get out.
So Dolly Spartan is your lead jammer for Arizona.
Mermace has a little help trying to break through that Arizona wall.
Dolly Spartan along the outside there as the pack had drifted kind of down towards the inside. Now the Arizona blockers spring into action with Dolly Spartan approaching. And Dolly Spartan able to navigate her way around the one uncovered blocker for Southside on a scoring pass. 15 seconds left on the jam clock.
Mermace tied up behind Nikki Badass and Quiver Phoenix.
And Dolly Spartan able to find her way through the pack as the clock was running down, and that will do it for that jam.
I'll annihilate ya. On the line for the hot shots. That's Mojo there jamming for Southside.
Al Annihilate gets in the way of Mojo, trying to knock her off stride as they both head to the pack. Two first-time jammers here in the bout. But I believe they both jammed plenty of times in their lives. There goes Al Annihilate, lead jammer for Arizona. Still hemmed in the pack. Mojo trying to find some purchase. Al Annihilate spun out of the pack, was trying to cling to that inside coping, and gravity had its way with her at the very end of it.
I've never seen gravity beat Al.
Just about pulled it off, just couldn't stick the landing.
Al
Just
doesn't
couldn't
believe
stick
in
the landing.
gravity.
My goodness. Now Al coming up on another scoring pass here along the inside up to the outside. About mid-pack, clock was about to expire, so Al calls off the rest of it. And before we move forward with the action, we are going to have a team timeout by Southside. So we will take a break from the action here momentarily, catch our breath for just a moment.
All right, after that Southside timeout, we're back to the action here.
Pikachu is going to be jamming for Arizona.
Pandemonium there for Southside. Pikachu looking at that high side. She says, I'm going to get right out now. Pandemonium stuck behind a solid four wall of Arizona blockers. Looking for some help from her teammates, try to get out.
Pikachu approaches the pack. A wild Pikachu approaches. Pikachu uses pass. It's super effective. And that's going to do it for the jam.
Oh, God. And Stingray coming to the line for the first time this evening For Southside.
And jamming for Arizona, number 623, Hollywood. Eight minutes to go until halftime. And Hollywood trying to find purchase along the outside, down to the inside, and Hollywood now clear. Your lead jammer for Arizona.
Hollywood loves to dive down to that inside line and ride it all the way out of the pack.
Stingray almost clear, but just bumped off onto the infield there by Anakin. Now trying to find her way through, and those blockers out of play. Stingray clear of the pack for Southside. Hollywood manages to spin her way through the pack and calls the jam after picking up her points. And we're going to have an Arizona Power Jam stopping penalty on Stingray. It's an interesting thing, you know, and that is going to bring us to an official timeout. It's an interesting thing, you know, announcing for home bouts as we do, and when an out-of-town skater comes in wearing, every time I see Stingray wearing 5150, I start saying alibi. So when I'm so used to seeing a number on somebody, like when we had the Texas Jammer wearing 616 Scapegoat, I had to stop myself from saying Craven Cadavers every single time. It was.
Or in the last bout,
interesting thing, yeah.
And we had Skid Vicious and Jackie Nimble from LA. Thank you. Both wearing the old 55.
So here we are with the Arizona Power Jam with 7 minutes and 10 seconds to go until halftime. It's Dolly Spartan, number 724. And she is out of the pack in less time than it took me to say that. And Dolly Spartan threw on a scoring pass, coming around again for another. And Dolly Spartan up into one of the blockers at the front of the pack there. Bowls them over and right on through with 23 seconds to go in the Power Jam. And Dolly Spartan navigating her way through the pack there one more time. And the clock's going to run down and expire here as she makes the circuit. C. We'll wait for the score from the referees. And we had 3 scoring passes for Dolly Spartan, 15 points on the board for Arizona from the Power Jam. Stepping up to the line now, that is Mermace for Southside, and for Arizona, that's Princess Leia.
Princess Leia tries the low, and she gets out, and really early on in turn 1, Mermace is stuck behind Alan Heilhecha. Witchy Woman. They're going to open the door, let Princess Leia through, and close the door. Mermaid still trying to work her way along the rail.
Only one vehicle at the time through the gate, no tailgating. Princess Leia through the pack. Checks the clock. 20 seconds to go in the jam. Mermaid now to the front of the pack. Hollywood, Witchy Woman. Princess Leia through again. 5 seconds to go in the jam.
Pretty Hurt Machine knocking Mermaids out to the infield. Has to reset herself. And that's the end of that jam.
.15 jam for Arizona. Stepping up to the jammer line for Arizona, number 95, Lightning the Queen.
And for Southside, that's your captain, Mojo.
I had a feeling I might hear from Black Eyed Please on that. Lightning up to the front of the pack now. Those blockers out of play, and Lightning able to get on through the pack. And out the front of the pack, there goes that Southside jammer, so she's out and clear as Mojo. Lightning through on a scoring pass. Calls the jam.
And here we go again. Pandemonium and Hollywood for the Hot Shots.
And there's Hollywood navigating her way through the pack, angles her way past those last two Southside defenders, and she's your lead jammer. Now the pack comes together there in the back straightaway, kind of bunched up. A lot of real estate. Nobody in the penalty box, so a lot of bodies out there. And Hollywood able to dodge a sliding block from the pivot for Southside, and she's out and clear, coming around again for another scoring pass. 14 seconds left on the jam clock.
Arizona's wall moving down to block the Southside jammer, inadvertently blocked their own Hollywood. She comes back onto the track and quietly calls off the jam. Stingray coming out to jam for the Southside.
Jamming for Arizona is going to be Dolly Spartan. Hollywood puts 8 points on the board for Arizona in the previous jam. And Dolly Spartan out of the pack there along the front straightaway. Your lead jammer for Arizona. Stingray able to work her way along the rail there, and Stingray is out and clear for Southside. Dolly Spartan gets through on her scoring pass. Looks ahead, keeping an eye on the situation. And Dolly Spartan calls it off.
Here comes Mermace, going to jam for your Southside Roller Derby. That's Pretty Hurt Machine for the Hot Shots.
4 points on the board for Arizona there in the last jam. 1 minute until halftime, 1 minute.
Both teams at full strength in their blockers.
Pretty Hurt Machine is out and clear as your lead jammer. Coming around and approaching the pack here as the pack makes its way into the corner and into the back straightaway. Collision there, Pretty Hurt Machine down on the track, but back up now. Recovering as the Southside jammer slides down to the infield as well. And Hurt through the pack there and coming around now for some more.
Hurt saw the daylight on the low and she just headed for it.
Trying to hang on to the inside there was Hurt and spun off onto the infield, but gets back up, builds up ahead of steam, and she's through those defenders again with 6 seconds left on the jam clock.
I would go ahead a second, there wouldn't be another jam.
And there is the jam clock and the quarter clock expired at the same time, so we do have time for one more jam here, so we're going to line this one up and get ready.
Yeah.
And after review, looks like we did go ahead. We're going to go ahead and move to halftime was the determination. So there we go. So we moved into halftime. We went to stop the clock on the scoreboard. with 2 seconds left on the game clock, but there's a human reaction time, so the clock ran out, but it's okay. We're going to go ahead and move into halftime, burn those last 2 seconds of game clock off. So we'll step aside for about 15 minutes and be back with you after halftime with the second half of this bout. All right, Derby fans, we are just about ready to get ready. Okay. I've got to admit, I've been announcing for a while here at the tournament, and I have to admit that I did just say we are about ready to get ready. We are ready for the second half, is what I meant to say. Take a second to put my words together in the correct order. Clock winding down to the end of halftime. Once again, the award ceremony is going to follow immediately after the conclusion of our last bout tonight, which is the next bout. So some point between 8:30 and 8:45 p.m., the award ceremony will be held here at the warehouse. And then the after party decamps for third space after that. So the award ceremony is here after the last bout and will not be at the after party at third space. We are ready to go. Our jammer on the jammer line for Southside is number 413, Mermace.
And for the hot shots, that's Skid Vicious sliding to a stop on the infield. Resets herself on the track and runs around the high side by the rail. She's your lead jammer.
Skid Vicious now able to break her way through that front wall of Southside defenders. Had linked arms, but she was able to find a weak point there and kind of break her way through. 15 seconds left on the jam clock. Now the pack slows down as they come into the back straightaway. Skid Vicious still trying to find her way through. Southside defenders a little bit better luck this time, but she's still able, with a little bit of help from her pivot, to break her way through the pack and complete the scoring pass.
Skid Vicious picking up 10 points on that jam.
Next up on the jammer line, that is Stingray for Southside. For Arizona, that is Ellie Mayhem.
Jammer's starting out slow, skating up to the pack, and get real physical real fast as they get there.
Stingray now to the outside of the track trying to get to the corner, but along the inside, Ellie Mayhem able to clear the pack first, and she's your lead jammer for Arizona. Stingray now clear as well for Southside, so that's going to press the issue as Ellie Mayhem catches up to the pack. Blockers being dumped out of the way. There's Witchy Woman along the front trying to help her out.
Amazing how fast these jammers accelerate to speed after getting out of the pack. That's Pandemonium coming to the line for Southside.
And there is going to be an official timeout. Looks like we had a skater who was started to get up and then went back down, so tending to her along the back straightaway. All right, skater back up and being helped back to the bench at this time. All right, skaters whistle back up to the track there. And the injured skater for Southside over getting attention on the bench area. So timeout comes to a close. We've got Dolly Spartan on the jammer line for Arizona and Pandemonium out there for Southside. Dolly Spartan is through and is your lead jammer. Pandemonium is hemmed in at the back of the pack as Dolly Spartan clears the pack on a scoring pass. Pandemonium trying to fight her way along the line there and get through. Dolly Spartan now up into the back wall of the pack. 25 seconds to go on the jam clock. Dolly Spartan around the outside. And that door quickly closed there by Quiver Phoenix along the rail, not letting Pandemonium through. The blockers are able to keep her pinned in there and keep her close enough that they're not out of play. Dolly Spartan makes her way through. And again, it's like magic. Hole parts in the wall for Dolly Spartan to go through, and then like it was never there ever. The hole just ceases to exist. Excellent defense by Arizona and offensive strategy. 15 points on the board for them during that jam.
And here comes Violent Viking for Southside. And that's the Anakin Shittalker for the Hot Shots. Derby Dames down one blocker on this jam. Southside has a full complement of blockers. Violent Viking giving Anakin Shittalker a little bump to the infield. Both of them trying the high side to get out. Violent Viking tied up behind Holly Hood, though, as Anakin Shittalker gets out. She's your lead jammer. Violent Viking hung up along the rail now, trying to get some help from her teammates. She tries the low, finds Princess Leia there. Anakin Shittalker gets to the back of the pack and starts her scoring pass. On and off the track, she's got to reset. Holly Hood and Princess Leia recycling to the front of the pack. And Violent Viking finally gets out of the pack, and a little bump from Holly Hood knocks her to the infield. Anakin Shittalker still trying to find her way through the back of that pack. She's picked up some points along the way, but people keep on recycling in front of her. Let's see what the official scoring is.
Setting up now for the next jam while we wait for the points to come in. That's going to be Nikki Badass for Arizona, and for Southside, that is Mermace. 4 points on the board for Arizona in that last jam. Nikki Badass trying to fight her way through that front wall of defenders there for Southside and trying to outrun that last blocker up to the point of the corner, able to do so. And Nikki Badass out and clear. Lead jammer for Arizona.
Crash and Burn trying to hold her up there.
Nikki now up to the pack, takes a stumble. I thought she stumbled. She did not stumble. No, she did not. Preemptively, Nikki Badass through the pack on a scoring pass. Mermaid still pinned in at the back of the pack. Mermaid's held in check back there by Skid Vicious. Skid now spins ahead to rejoin the four wall at the front. And Mermaid's able to slide by on the inside. Mermaid's clear of the pack. And that'll do it as the clock expires.
Looks like Nikki Badass picked up a cut track penalty right there. Looks like Southside's going to get a power jam now. That's Stingray out there going to skate this power jam for Southside.
Stingray fighting along the outside of the track, trying to find an opening to see if she can sneak through that Arizona three wall, and she's able to break through. So Stingray out and clear with 40 seconds to go in the power jam. Arizona defenders now coming together, all 4 defenders out there. Quickly sealed together at the front of the pack there to prevent her from going through.
Stingray getting a little bit of help from her teammates trying to break up that wall. Tries to follow him through, but that door got shut on her. She gets knocked to the infield by, was that Ellie Mayhem out there?
Now trying to fight her way along the rail is Stingray. Arizona defender gets separated, but Stingray still held in by those last 2 defenders. And 5 points picked up on the power jam by Stingray. Stepping up to the jammer line for Arizona, number 95, Lightning the Queen.
That's pandemonium for Southside.
And Lightning the Queen quickly to the outside. Able to follow the lead of her blockers, and she's out and clear. Lead jammer for Arizona.
I'm seeing Pandemonium pushing her way through this pack of Arizona skaters. She's trying hard to pass Bob Villain and Pikachu. Witchy Woman trying to hold her back, but she gets out. She's your lead, she's your trailing jammer.
And Lightning McQueen able to navigate her way through the pack, dispensing with 1 blocker there towards the end, and calls the jam. Looks like before, we're just about to introduce the jammers to you, but we're going to have a timeout. And that's going to be a team timeout by Southside.
Hey folks, before you leave, be sure to visit the Arizona Derby Dames merch booth to get your favorite league and team merchandise. We have t-shirts, tank tops, hats, koozies, as well as stickers and buttons for your favorite team. We got some patches there. We got some Chingadera merch. We got a Chingadera patch. I think I might want to get a Chingadera patch. We've also got the Chingadera t-shirts. So if you came and you skated for Chingadera, get yourself a t-shirt. You deserve it. Southside taking a moment to talk this over. Amazing weekend of roller derby, Clifton, and you and I have gotten to sit here and watch a lot of it. It may be a lot of hours, but it's good entertainment for my money.
Hey fans, don't forget, every month the Arizona Derby Dames support a local charity, and the February charity is Feed My Starving Children. It is a nonprofit that feeds starving children all over the globe, and they need your help to pack food and supplies. The Derby Dames are helping them out Wednesday, February 27th from 8:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. out in Mesa. And they'd love to see you there to help fill food bags that'll be sent around the world to feed hungry children. For more information, you can visit Feed My Starving Children's website at fmsc.org or ask any Arizona skater. They'll get you pointed in the right direction for how to join the volunteer party.
Here comes Holly Hood for the hot shots. That's Violent Viking out there for Southside. Violent Viking getting to the front of the pack, getting a little help from one of her teammates. Holly Hood gets out on the low, but Violent Viking's right behind her. Got a little bit of a jammer race. See who can score what as they get to the back of the pack. And Holly Hood says, I'll just go all the way through the pack.
So Holly Hood maneuvering her way through the pack there. Maneuvering. Makes it sound really simple. I think Holly Hood may have heard you say jammer race, and she said, I'm sorry, excuse me.
I'm sorry, what?
Pardon me?
I watch Holly Hood skate, and I say, why do I even try?
We've got Pikachu on the line for Arizona, and jamming for Southside, number 413, Mermace. Tightly bunched pack now.
Mermaid's pushing hard against the back of the Arizona pack there.
Those two walls kind of shifting back and forth. They're trying to hold in Pikachu at the front of the pack.
And they got to let her go. Pikachu's your lead jammer. She's coming up on the back of the pack, setting up her scoring pass. Solid three wall of Southside skaters right there, trying to hold her back. Nikki Badass is in there in the mix, though. She's trying to break it up, and she does. Pikachu gets out for another run.
And clearing the pack now is Mermace for a Southside. And the jam clock has run out.
There was just something watching about Nikki hunkered down, watching all four Southside skaters coming towards her, just like, come on! I was just like,
And then the jammer gets out on the high, and Nikki's kind of got this look on her face like, how did that happen?
such a fanboy.
Right? Hey, that's Stingray on the line for Southside.
And jamming for Arizona is Anakin Shittalker.
Anakin Potty Mouth? I don't know. Is this the PG-13 or the R?
Anakin Bad Words. And
Oh, and Stingray's out.
Anakin.
Stingray's your lead jammer for Southside.
Anakin trying to fight her way through the pack and able to make her way around that last defender, and Anakin now out as well for Arizona. Stingray now going to try to put some more points on the board for Southside. Up into the pack, tries to get her hips in front of a couple of skaters and calls it off. And it looks like no points for either side there. We've got Lightning the Queen for Arizona and Pandemonium for Southside. Lightning trying to follow the lead of one of her blockers there. Bounce to the outside, to the inside, trying to find her way now, runs into a two wall at the front of the pack. And Lightning able to dispense with them and is out and clear as your lead jammer for Arizona. Lightning skates by to the adoring cheers of the hometown crowd. And now up upon the pack, trying to hang on to the inside there, but bumped off onto the infield. Now has her pivot up there to run interference, and Lightning able to finish a scoring pass. 18 seconds to go on the jam clock. Lightning now catches up to the pack. Lightning the Queen through, gets through, tripped up at the very end there. And Lightning the Queen puts 10 points on the board for Arizona. However, she did pick up a penalty. So this is going to be a power jam for Southside. Up to the line for Southside is going to be number 127, Violent Viking.
Violent Viking looking to put some points on the board for Southside.
And the whole pack making their way around the corner and down the back straightaway. Like a pace car lap at the Indianapolis 500.
A full complement of full blockers for both teams in front of her. That's hard enough to get through. Now there's a solid four wall of hot shots.
Couple of skaters down there along the front straightaway, getting back up on their feet. Violent Viking up to the front now, had her pivot swing around in front, tried to clear her.
It's Witchy Woman, Princess Leia, and Alan Ilhecha as she gets out in turn 3. And the jam clock expires.
We will get set up for what will be the last jam of the third quarter, as the quarter clock is going to wind down and expire. That's going to be Mermace for Southside. And Dolly Spartan for the Arizona Hotshots.
Arizona picking up a failure to reform penalty. It'll be down a blocker.
And before we get to that last jam of the third quarter, we've got an official timeout.
Southside picking up a couple penalties there, and they got a must skate.
We had a late addition to the pack, and it looks like that set something off balance. So referees are going to talk that one over. So as I said, the quarter clock has expired, but we are pending the last jam of the third quarter yet. So don't go anywhere just yet.
Huh?
All right, back to the action here. One more jam left here in the third quarter before the quarter clock officially expires. And again, that's Mermace for Southside and Dolly Spartan for Arizona. Dolly Spartan out and clear as the lead jammer. Arizona fans letting Dolly Spartan hear it on her way by there on the front straightaway. Dolly Spartan able to negotiate her way through the pack. And Dolly got that last Southside defender turned around and able to get by her. And Dolly Spartan once again with a sure and steady line through the turn, able to complete another scoring pass and making her way around. Mermace is hung in behind those two defenders at the front for Arizona. And Dolly Spartan bumped off the track. At the same time, Mermace springs loose from the pack for Southside. So Dolly Spartan back up is going to try to finish this scoring pass before the jam clock expires in a couple of seconds. And she's able to do so, gets through, and she burns off the last couple seconds off the clock. That is now going to take us to the quarter break. We'll step aside from the action here momentarily. 14 points on the board for Dolly Spartan.
Like I said earlier, Southside hosting the next Battle on the Bank this year in late June. I'm going to Houston, but I've never been to Houston. Is there anything to do in Houston? Have you been to Houston yet, Clifton?
I would just like to take a second and congratulate a member of the Arizona Hotshots, Witchy Woman, on amazing eye makeup. Look at that. When I can see your eye makeup from the announcer's nest, that's when you know you have very good eye makeup. She can't hear me in the infield, but
Yeah, that too.
all right, back to the action. 15 minutes to go in this bout. Right now, on the jammer line for Arizona is Hollywood, number 623. And jamming for Southside is going to be, again, it's not Alibi. Stingray, number 5150 for Southside. Hollywood out and clears the lead jammer for Arizona.
Southside Jammer able to get out there in turn 2. Hollywood completes her scoring pass.
Stingray coming around the corner. Hollywood keeping an eye on the action. And calls the jam. Four points up for Hollywood. Now on the jammer line for Southside is number 419 Pandemonium.
Witchy Woman called for an arms penalty there. Arizona's down a blocker.
Quiver Phoenix is jamming for Arizona. And she is able to outrun the Southside Jammer to the point there. Had a blocker helping her out and got in the way of Pandemonium. Quiver Phoenix is clear. Now up to the pack. And Phoenix calls off the jam. Looks like we've got Mermace preparing to jam for Southside. And that's Princess Leia for Arizona.
Princess Leia takes a look at the high side, sees that it's clear, and she takes it down to the infield, and she goes. She's your lead jammer for Arizona. Mermaid's working her way through the pack there.
Princess Leia quickly through the pack along the outside at the exit of turn 2. Now making her way to meet the pack again here in the back straightaway as Mermaid still trying to get clear. Big collision there at the back of the pack. Princess Leia and a Southside blocker, a couple Southside blockers down at the back of the pack. We will have a stoppage in play. And with that, the skater that had fallen down there In the back straightaway is over back on the bench, getting tended to by the medical staff. That would be Star for Southside, and getting some attention over there for the medical staff on the bench. So, result of the jam, 7 points for Arizona. 12:31 to go in regulation.
Southside picking up a penalty on that. Going to have a one blocker down situation. Pikachu coming to the line for the hot shots. That's Mermaids for Southside.
And Pikachu able to find an open lane along the inside and is your lead jammer for Arizona. Mermaids back along the inside to come back on the track behind the pack as Pikachu makes her way through on a scoring pass. Pikachu completing another scoring pass. Pack proceeding along the back straightaway at a glacial pace. Pikachu now along the inside, runs into a blocker this time. Pinned up into the rail, but gets up for one of her own blockers, able to tiptoe along the coping and clear the pack on another scoring pass. Mermace pinned in behind that three wall of Arizona once again, and they let her go on ahead on by as the clock is preparing to expire, and does so. Stepping up to the jammer line for Southside is going to be number 5150, Stingray. And jamming for Arizona, that's Pretty Hurt Machine.
Stingray trying to get out of the back of the pack there. Pretty Hurt Machine's your lead jammer coming up on the back of the pack now. Pretty Hurt Machine able to push her way through the pack there. Collect her points. Stingray getting some help from her teammates trying to get through Witchy Woman and Hollywood. Throwing Anakin Shit Talker there. That's a strong three wall.
Pretty Hurt Machine maneuvering through the pack. A few seconds left on the jam clock here. Pretty Hurt Machine says, no, there's not. And burns those last few seconds off the clock. We'll set up for the next jam. We are going to have Nikki Badass on the line for Arizona. And for Southside, that is Pandemonium. Pandemonium and Nikki Badass both waiting for the other to make their first move, and then they both kind of go at about the same time.
Pandemonium able to knock Nikki Badass to the infield for a half a second.
Nikki clear of the pack now, lead jammer for Arizona. Pandemonium hemmed in behind those Arizona defenders.
I guess defensive jamming doesn't always work, does it? Nikki Badass skating through the pack there. She's coming in, setting up her second scoring pass.
And able to get her way through the pack. Pandemonium trying to get clear and blocked out into the infield. Nikki now up to the pack. Through the pack, and with the Southside jammer getting clear, she goes ahead and calls off the jam.
Looks like the Southside jammer picked up a low block there.
So indeed, power jam for Arizona. Ellie Mayhem, number 1 on the jammer line. Arizona has one blocker in the penalty box 4 blockers out there for Southside for this power jam as Ellie Mayhem clears the pack. 15 seconds gone in the power jam. And the Southside defender able to get down underneath the block of the Arizona defenders and get Ellie Mayhem onto the infield, but able to finish the scoring pass. "20 seconds to go in the power jam. Ellie Mayhem up to the outside and past the defenders. Making her way around one more time as the Southside defenders trying to get back together and reform a wall. But Princess Leia was tasked with hanging on to Violent Viking at the back of the pack and did so to aplomb. 12 points on the power jam. And our next jam is going to see Mermace for Southside with Dolly Spartan for Arizona. And the jam is underway. Dolly Spartan patiently waiting for her blockers. Now trying to find an opening, and Dolly Spartan around the outside, and your lead jammer for Arizona. Mermace now trying to find an opening up to the outside. Door quickly closed by the Arizona defenders, however, who are now coming together at the front of the pack. Dolly Spartan up to the 4 wall of defenders for Southside and trying to get past the pivot. Up to the outside and able to do so. Trying to make her way along the outside as Mermace now forced down to the inside by the Arizona defense, kind of ramping her back down to the inside as Dolly Spartan clears the pack. 10 seconds left on the jam clock, 6 minutes left in regulation. Dolly Spartan making her way back down the front straightaway. Able to make her way through the pack one more time, and the clock expires. And stepping up to call timeout, we have a team timeout for Southside. So we're going to take a second here with 5:40 left on the clock. Stepping aside from the action for just a moment.
No, we're good. No, I'm actually, no, I like Seattle.
Nora was quite literally falling asleep. .540 to go in regulation. We are back to the action. It is Princess Leia jamming for Arizona and Stingray jamming for Southside. Princess Leia clear of the pack. And Princess Leia around the outside taking the long route. And there's Stingray breaking her way through the 4 wall of Arizona. Got one of them down onto the infield with the help of the Southside blockers. Stingray clears the pack. Here comes Princess Leia. Princess Leia sliding through the corner. Calls off the jam. Lightning the Queen jamming for Arizona. And that is pandemonium for Southside. Lightning collided there with a defender and one of her blockers. Pandemonium trying to find purchase along the outside, but pushed up into the rail and brought to a stop. Lightning trying to go to the inside, but forced off the track. Reestablishes and gets on through, goes Lightning. We are halfway through the jam clock right now. Lightning threading her way through the pack. And clearing the pack for Southside now. There is Pandemonium.
And for Southside, here comes Mermaids. And that's Anakin Shittalker for the Hot Shots. About 3 minutes left in this fourth quarter.
Anakin along the inside and is out and clear as the lead jammer. So we wind down to 3 minutes to go here in regulation.
Mermaids tied up there behind Holly Hood and Alan I'll hate ya. Taken to the infield, pretty hurt machine, Ellie Mayhem.
Jam clock halfway gone. Anakin approaching the pack again.
Anakin hits the back of the pack. There is just a ton of blockers for both teams in her way. Southside putting together a solid four-wall and a little bit of an
stoppage in play. This happened right in front of us.
Equipment failure.
Anakin Shittalker's knee pad got Velcroed to the knee pad of one of the Southside blockers, and we had to have a stoppage in play because they were quite literally tied together.
I don't think I have ever seen that.
I haven't been doing Derby long, but I feel like I may not have ever seen that one again or since. That was pretty great.
Pics or it didn't happen, we have video.
That was something else right in front of us. So
we've got a power jam going on here. Here comes Stingray, going to skate that power jam for Southside. She is powering her way through the middle of that pack. She is bound and determined to get out.
Stingray working on that front wall just with brute strength, getting some help now from one of her blockers, trying to kind of wedge her way in there and create an opening. That four wall for Arizona is just spinning around and not letting it happen. Now the blockers kind of form a phalanx to try to get through the middle.
Bob Villain and Quiver Phoenix trying to keep her back. She's not going to give up, though. Stingray going to get up and try right again.
Stingray has about 17 seconds left in this power jam and takes a block there, knocked down to the track surface. And the pack making their way into the corner now.
Stingray passing that star off to 127 Violent Viking. She was your jammer for about 1 second and she got out. Quiver Phoenix picking up a cut track penalty there.
We've got Pikachu at the jammer line for Arizona. And jamming for Southside is number 413, Mermace.
Alan I'll hate you jamming for the Hot Shots, able to get out on the low side. Couple of Al fans in the crowd there.
I did say Pikachu, didn't I? I'm looking at the back of Al's jersey, and I know it's Al, and I said Pikachu because of the number similarity.
Mermaid's tied up behind Pretty Hurt Machine and Holly Hood, trying to push them out of play.
Al Annihilate finding a seam there between the defenders for Southside, and goes ahead and calls off the jam, heading off the track. And the game clock has reached quadruple zeros at this point. We'll wait and see what the situation is here.
referees dotting their I's, crossing their T's.
And there we are. With that signal, the game has come to a close. Final score in bout 11 of Chingadera 2019, Arizona 421, Southside 9.
Come out there and say hey to your favorite hot shots as they skate a little victory lap. And all right, folks, give it up for Southside Roller Derby. They came all the way to Phoenix to battle it out here. We're going to see them again in Houston on their home track for Battle on the Bank. Way to go, Southside. They're going to be our hosts for this year's Battle on the Bank. We're going to have a good time in Houston. Thanks for coming to Phoenix.